Hello, welcome to Temenos Digital. My name is Aaron, and today we're going to see how information security is implemented in T24. By the end of this lesson, we are going to have a good understanding on Security Management System module and how to implement information security in T24. We are going to have a practical session on how to create user profile, user menus and roles, and assign privileges to the users in T24. What is information security? We're going to use this definition, which is found here on this website. Basically, information security is the protection of information and information systems from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, or destruction in order to provide confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, in short, we implement information security in order to preserve these three principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, how is information security implemented in T24? Basically, T24 has a dedicated module which is called Security Management System, or SMS in short. Security Management System has at minimum these 9 applications. So the first application is called Sign-On. This application is responsible for getting someone into T24. This is why you need to provide your username and password. Basically, if you're using a browser, this is it. You put your username and password here and you click sign in. And the application which gets invoked when you click on sign in is the sign-on application. Okay. Now that application is sign off. Now once you have logged into the system, if you need to come out from the system, the application which gets involved is sign off. This is the application which gets invoked when you log out from the system. So if I log in into the system, or let me use classic, by the way, it's okay. It's the same. To log into the system, I've already logged in. If you look at this sign on, and once you want to log out, you use the application called sign off. So I type sign.off. As you can see, I'm off. I'm no longer in T24. Okay. Now, the third application is called password. This application has 3 functions. Let's look at that. Log into the application again. I type password. The first function, it allows me to change my password as a user. Once I logged into the system, if I need to change my password, I use this password application and the function 1. So I click 1 and it asks me to put my current password. Okay. And I need to put a new password. They say password is case sensitive. Now I don't want to change my password, so I do this, okay? The other function is changing the company. For now, I'm in BNK. If I want to switch to a different company, for instance, AU1, this is how I can use the same application, password. The third function is to deactivate my profile temporarily. So I can do that. So if I click 3, I can deactivate my password, which I'm not going to do now, because I need to use this profile. Okay. Now we've seen these 3 applications. They are available to all users, regardless, being an administrator, being a simple user. Everyone has access to these 3 applications as long as you have a profile. If you have a T24 profile, you have got access to these 3 applications. And the browser is simple to navigate here. So Let me show you. If I log in T24, sign off, I just click here, sign off from the system. Now, if I want password, tools, and in tools, you can change your password, you can deactivate your profile, and you can switch from company to company, okay, to a different company. So this is where you find it in the browser. Or you can type here, sign off or password, they're the same, okay? If you have access to a command line, which in most of cases a normal user will not have access to. Now let's move forward. Now the rest of applications from here are only accessible to the information security officer or information security manager or administrator, depending on your internal policies. But this is for the administrators. The first application is called user. This is responsible for managing user profiles. So this is where you create users. We're going to use this in a practical session, okay? So let's not discuss details here for now. Then you have user SMS group. This is where you define the roles, the privileges. If you say like branch manager being a role, you define a branch manager profile, and you can say a branch manager has access to ABC, and you define the role here. And then you can attach this role to a user profile. Then sign-on.reset is application which is used to reset user profile. Password.reset, this is used by security officer to reset a password if this user has forgotten the password. It does not require to remember the old password, okay? All you need to do is to do password.reset. Maybe I do this and can reset the password for, let's say, around 2, and I can temporarily give them this password, Of course, I need to provide this an internal user, and if I validate, it's going to validate. But I'm not going to reset the password for now, okay? Good. Now, another application is protocol. Protocol is responsible for keeping logs of everything which is done in T24. Things which I've been typing here, I can find them in the system. What did I do? I tried to use password to reset, for instance. So I can do protocol ll application equals password.reset. So I can see all the people who have done password reset. If I look at this, there are 3 records, and these are only for Aaron 1 who did. And the last one, if you remember the ID, which has used this one, let's view. Indeed, as you can see, I did password reset. The user is this Aaron, and this ID I provided. As you can see, this was done using which terminal? 4335, and you can see this is really this terminal ID, and which time, again, with milliseconds involved. So this is really to show you can track the activities of the users from the system. Now that application is activity. Activity will show you the active users. So who is currently using the system? There are a few users. One is my username. So I logged in at 1602. Looks like this is the one. And there are quite a number of users and what they are doing, currently doing. If you look at this user, Aaron1, is using activity application. But there are other users who are dealing with other applications, okay? Good. So Basically, we have seen all the applications, but you wonder, where do we define password policy? Now, say password policy is defined in SPF, system parameter file. So this is another application which keeps, I didn't want to list SPF here because SPF keeps system parameters. There are quite a number of system parameters, not just security management system. So that's why it is not here. But SPF, if you want to define password policy, you use SPF. We do SPF system. It has only one record, which is called system. And if you look at from field 46, if I'm not mistaken, yes, we have timeout mode. We have like 48. This we defined password repetition. So how many passwords do you need to keep before you can repeat them? There's password history in other systems. I think it is the correct terminology is password history. So it defines the number of different passwords a user must input before being able to repeat the first one. So if you don't define this, the minimum is, and the default is 3. That's the minimum and the default is 3. Meaning the system will not allow you to repeat the same password. So if you change password today, the old password cannot be used again until 3 passwords, okay? It's a password history. It keeps the last 3 passwords. Now you can define a different number between 3 and 99 depending on, again, your policy, okay? Let's move quickly. The other fields is like field 55, password minimum length. So different organizations, different policies. Some organizations say, okay, the minimum password should be 8. If that is your policy, you put 8 here, meaning all the passwords for the user should have minimum 8 characters. And you can define a password uppercase, how many uppercase, at least how many uppercase you need to have. Maybe it's one, at least one uppercase, and at least one lowercase, and maybe at least one number, and at least one special character. In this case, you can define your password like this. So the minimum is going to be 8, and the system is going to check if you have at least one alpha uppercase, one lowercase, one number, and one special character. If this is you define this in this way, the system is going to enforce. Any user who is going to create a password will be subject to this policy. Okay? So I hope this is clear. Now, before we move to a practical session, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Now, let's see the practice. We are going to create a menu for a domestic operations officer with the following privileges. So they're going to have access to fund transfer application, full access except authorization. Here I assume the authorization is going to be done by our operations manager. For the accounts application, they are allowed to view, list, print only accounts in USD, and in these 2 categories, just 2 categories, current account and suspense account. And customer, they can only view and list. So looking at this profile, I think this is a person who is working in domestic operations where the local currency is USD, and the person or operation officer deals with fund transfer, just fund transfer, and probably time to time they need to consult the accounts of customers, maybe before they do any transfer, and also check some customer information. And they can also run this inquiry, stmt.entbook. This is for account statement. You can probably pull the account statement. these are the only things they are allowed to do in the system. Now, how can we implement this? Let's define this on a paper. Let's have some analysis. I'm going to open a notepad. Let's try to understand how we can implement this. If I see this, the way you can break this menu, first of all, we need to find the name of the menu. How are we going to call this? I suggest the name to be the domestic, the DOM ops.officer or DOM ops menu. This should be sufficient. Domestic ops menu, and it's going to have some other menus. So to make these things convenient for the user, we can separate some functions. Maybe we have a version for inputting transactions. When they open, they click and they just get a way to create a new fund transfer. So we can create fund transfer menu, and we're going to call this DOM probably ops ft. So this is going to be called let's say fund transfer, and this menu, assume we are going to have sub menu before creation of new ft. This is going to go to funds transfer, funds.transfer. And let's look at which version we can use. So version LL 0 like funds.transfer. Let's pick this one, okay? Let's pick this one. Assume they are going to use this version to input transaction. So we can say they open this with a new, to create a new FT, and we can basically give them this. This should be sufficient, and they can use it for different purposes, even seeing a fund transfer. Or since they say, since they are going to have access to everything concerning fund transfer, maybe let's give them also fund transfer as application, okay? And we can also have this. It's going to be new. Sorry, it's going to be new transfer. Let's name it new transfer, and maybe let's say let's give them the possibility to view FTs. An FT in this case, let them provide full view. So they're going to use the whole application, and we can do function S, because they don't have command line, so I need to provide this at least. They can view. They can delete. Let's assume they can delete. We can also give them delete, and we give them also, I don't know, exception. Okay. Let's say exception, FT in exception. I just want to expand this menu, not just one item, because when it's one item, it does not look very nice. So, and maybe delete as well. Delete FT. This should be sufficient. Let's give them this, and they're going to have also what? Accounts. Now for the accounts, they will have on accounts in these categories. Let's allow them to have full view of the accounts. And since it's account only, view, list, and print, we can combine accounts and customer. under one menu, and let's name this let's say DOM, not DOB here by the way, because domestic, DOM ops, and probably AC. Okay, AC and customer. Actually, we can just create accounts. Yeah, let them have accounts, and they're going to have a list view, whatever, and they can also have customer. Or let's combine these two, by the way. Customer, accounts, and customers. Let's call this and customers. We don't have many menus. And here we have customer. Okay. Maybe you want to have them see the account as a function. There's no need of listing. And if they want to list, or let's have them find account. Okay, find account. Okay, let's provide that. Yes, I think it's good. We do LL, and you say find account. And you can have customer LL. I'm just inventing this, by the way. I have not done it yet. So find customer, and what's the find they can view. Okay. Okay, good. Now we also have this menu. Well, let's separate the two, by the way. Doesn't harm to separate the two. So you have this account, and you can also view account. No, let's keep it. Let's keep it together. It's a small menu. Menu of one item. View account. So accounts and customer. Let's call this customer. Okay, now the last menu item is going to be these inquiries. Let's call this, assume we're going to have many inquiries related to, so we can do this ops dot maybe inc, and these are going to be, let's name this inquiries. And under these inquiries, the application we have is enq stmt.entbook. Okay, let me copy this. So this is application. So we're going to say this is account statement. By the way, we can maybe I think it's a good idea. We have account and account statement in one, and we have, yeah, let's do that. Let's do this. They can find account. They can also have account statement. It's okay. And let's have customer separate. We call this queue. Since there was only one inquiry, and you have customer. On customer, let's also have this. So let's move this one to here. They can view and find the customer, or if they know the customer ID, they can view customer. Customer S. Okay. Version, as you can see, and here we're just using the applications, not the versions. Okay. which is okay. So this is our menu. 3 items, so domestic ops, FT, domestic ops, account, domestic ops, customer. And this is how you group. Feel free to group the way you want, okay? This is what I find. You just invented it now. Now, if you have to create this menu, as you can see, it has children. So you start by defining children. So it's from bottom to up. You can either start this or this or this, whichever. Let's start with the customer, the last one. So I'm going to grab the name. I do helptext.menu, it's this abbreviation, and I create it. Now here we have application as customer LR. This is what we have defined, and we named it find customer. Okay, and it's only one item we have. So I validate. This is done. Let's define this one. We start by account, LL, and we say find account. We expand, and we're going to have the inquiry. And we're going to say account statement. Good. Now, let's define this FT. In FT, we have this version, and we want them to open a new. So we said new transfer. We have a way to view an FT. This is said view transfer or FT. Doesn't matter. We say want to view exception. Or list FTs in exception. Then we also have one for deleting FT, but let's allow them to do just from here, okay? And this is delete FT, okay? So it is validated. Now, since we have all these 3 menus, we can create the main menu for domestic ops. So I create this one, and I'm going to attach the existing menus. We start with the FT menu. So we do this, and we're going to call this fund transfer menu. Fund transfer menu. We are going to attach this one. I can maybe be accounts menu. And this one. And this is customer menu. Okay. All right. So our menu is ready. So let's view it. Let's view it and see if everything is okay. So I do see. Okay, that's 3. Now let's launch it and see how it looks like. Okay, we have fund transfer menu. We can create a new FT. Fantastic. Okay. we can view FT. Let me go back. We have accounts, find account. Yes, you can put criteria like 27 greater than 0. And there are only 2 accounts with positive balances. Okay. Yeah. And if I know, let me view those. Okay. 27 greater than 0. And I can copy this one account here. Let me see if the working balance, if the balance works. Account statement, let's see, equals this one. And let's say maybe 2020. Oh, sorry. Greater or equal to 20, maybe 2009. 0501. Yeah, it is working. Account statements. All right. What I see, our menu is really working well. But let me also create another menu for things we have seen in the theory here. For these applications, like which are anyway accessible to all users. But just in case we use classic so that they are accessible. Okay, so I'm going to create that menu, HM. Let me name this maybe profile. I don't know. Let's name this profile. Okay. Here in the profile, I'm going to have password. And this is going to be my profile, and I'm going to have sign off, sign.off, logout. Okay, good. Now let's change our operation menu. We add also this one. Okay. I'm going to go to 3. Let's add profile. Sorry. You do profile. Okay. All right. I think now we are done. Let me view it again once more. Yes, we have number 4. I can log out. Number 2. Okay, it is working. Good. So we have completed the first step. We have created the menu. Now we need to apply the restriction, which means we need to create the privileges in the system. We need to assign the privileges to this user. Because no matter how, if they have access to this application, to this menu, sorry, they can perform other activities, like they have access to account. Nothing prevents them from viewing accounts in other categories or inputting accounts. So we need to create the role called, let's also give it a name. We're going to name this probably dom.ops.role. Okay, I think this would be okay. Let's name it like this, DOM-ops role. Now, we use application SMS, user SMS group, and I give that a name. Now, let's look at the restriction we have here. We say for fund transfer, they should have access to everything except authorization, okay? So let's do that. The description here of this is going to be domestic ops role, okay, or officer role, yeah. And the first application we're going to have is fund transfer. Like, we can start with this version, by the way. Okay, we do this for this application, and the version called this. When they use this, we want to allow them to just do but let's give them all the functions except what they're not allowed to, which is authorization. So I'm going to remove these two because they are related to the authorization, and assign them this. Okay, now here we have also given the fund transfer application, so let's add it here, just the application. So ft, no version, and the same functions. Now what else? We have accounts. Now for accounts, it's somewhat tricky. We have USD and we have categories. So we define this. Let's add application. There's no version, just account. The function, we say view, list, and print, meaning S, L, and P. Now here the field, we have currency. So we say account currency equals USD, only USD accounts. So the first condition here. Okay. Now let's move forward. We extend again for the same application. Account, no version, field, account category, we say equals 1001. One more, the last one, account, the field is account category, comparison equals, which category? 14020, 14020. And we also have customer. So I think I forgot functions. I need to review again. Let me see. Yeah, I forgot functions. It's SLP. No. Yeah. So account category. No, what's wrong? It looks like I can't type. S, L, and P. Okay. Okay, let me commit this first. Yeah, the function, we do have S, L, and P as well. And there's no condition. There's no condition, just a function. Okay. Now, we also have inquiry. So let's have this. The application is called inquiry.selection. Inquiry.selection. Let me see. Inquiry.select. Sorry. Inquiry.select. There's no version. If you want them to allow, if you want to allow the user to run inquiry, you should have function. Okay, good. Looks like our role is ready. Let me copy this. There we have it, yes. So let me see if everything is okay. Okay, we're going to review fund transfer. We have this version, we have all these functions, and fund transfer application, we have all these functions. For account is SLP, yeah, only 3 functions. Currency equals USD, currency category equals this. Account category equals to this. Customer, only the functions, and the inquiry.select. All right. Think we are ready. Now, the things we're going to do now, we're going to create a user profile. We're going to create a user profile and you attach our role in our menu. Okay? Let's do that. This is going to be a normal user, so you can create a user. Let's say Smith 1. Okay. Username is John Smith. Username is Smith01. Classification is int because it's an employee. Language, keep it 1. Let's allow them to access 2 companies, BNK, AU1 and AU1. It's okay. The department, I don't know the department list. Let me list. Sorry. I do this. I do list. Which? Let's give them this retail banking, number 3. So copy. And password validity. Today is 2021-05-16, and let them change password every month. So 01-30, for instance. The profile will start today, so 16th, and profile, let's say it's going to end this year, December 31, and start. Want them to log into the system not before 7:30, and they should not be allowed to enter the system at 8 p.m. So this is the latest they can enter the system. So they start their work at 7:30, and they can, actually it's too much. Yeah, but if let's say, because now it's in the Luxembourg, it's 20:05, so I want to be able to log in if I provide, let's say 22, okay? Now, if they are not active within 15 minutes, the system should log them out. The number of attempts, let's give them 3. Initial application, we need to provide our menu. So on them, when they log into the system, to have this menu. So we do this. Let's allow them to book in all their companies, okay? Now, the application is our role. Okay, so domestic ops officer role. There's no need of a version function because everything is applied there. The only thing also, we want to keep the logs for everything they do in the system. Let's say for the, DDMM. And screen, yes, clear the screen. And let's see what else. Amount format you can define later. Let's keep it. A maximum session attributes, let's say Explorer. Explorer, they don't have, if they have Explorer, they don't have access to command line. Okay, let's try to validate. All right, the users created Smith1. Let's view user C, Smith1. All right, I think we are done. So this is how our user looks like. Now let's try to use this user. ATS, EX, Smith01, and I'm going to find a password for Smith1. As you can see, when Smith logs in, they have domestic ops menu. So this is what they are allowed to access. They cannot type things like user. It won't allow. They are limited to things which are here. So obviously they can create a new FT. Fantastic, it opens. They can view FT if it's layer. They can view FT in exception. Number 3, there's only one FT. And let's try to authorize, because they are not allowed to authorize FTs. Let's see what happens. Okay, so they say you don't have sufficient function privileges. You see, they cannot use, but let's try to delete. They should have access. Okay, 3 and 1, we do D. Yeah, they can delete. It's just asking, do you want to delete work of another user? Let's skip it. This 15 does not have anything. And let's go back. They can go to customer menu. They can find an account. Let's say the same way we did 27 greater than 0, for instance. Now, interesting enough, you see, they can only see one account. This is a current account. The other account, which we're seeing with the other user, is not listed here. So the system is smart enough to only show the accounts they're allowed to touch. Okay? So if I do list, even here, you won't see other accounts except those which they're allowed to. Okay? Now, let's do that. It's okay. So, but you have seen only one account. But with my profile, I was able to see 2 accounts. So greater than 0. And let's copy this account number. And let's see if they can view the balance. 2 equals this account greater or equal to maybe 2009 0101. Yes, they can view the account statement. They can view customer, find customer, and maybe a customer with a name. Name is which field? Name 1, 3, like let's say Aaron. Yes, there's 1. They can view, see, they're allowed to see, yeah. Let's see, 3 like Aaron. Let's try to amend and see. Should receive an error. Yes, you don't have sufficient function privileges. And they can also perform, you can go to my profile. They can change the password if they want to, or switch to a different company. We have given them access to AU1. They can change the company. And also they're tired, they can log out. All right. So our menu is working. So in short, we have seen a lot of things today. We have seen how to implement information security in a T24. So we have seen all the applications related to the security management system. We have seen how to create a menu and different menus, hierarchy of menus, and we have successfully accomplished this task. We created menus, we created a role, meaning SMS profile. We attached our SMS to the user menu, to the user profile, and at the end we ended up with a user. Let's see, by the way, how this will display in a browser. So Smith01 and the password. Don't save. As you can see, John Smith does not have access to command line. So they are limited to things which are here, basically. And this menu becomes redundant because we have this in the browser, we have these two can serve the purpose of what we have here. But it's okay, they can do it from here, they can log out from here. And it is the same, let's say for the customer, find customer, it launches this. You can list. And if you look at here, all the accounts, the number of accounts won't have 3 pages. If you look at all these current accounts, and look at the currency only, a USD, and the last page, we have only those accounts which they're supposed to view. Okay, there's no accounts which they don't have access to. So with this we ensure confidentiality, we ensure that this user can only access what they are allowed to access. Okay, no more and no less. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't, share and like this video. See you next. Bye bye.